Welcome back, everyone. I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE here in our NYSE CUBE studios here in the New York Stock Exchange, part of the NYSE Wired program and community. Of course, we got our Palo Alto studio connecting Wall Street and SiliconANGLE as part of our Mixture of Experts series, where we got some news from two CUBE alumni. Alex Gallego, founder and CEO of Redpanda. Welcome back.
Thanks for
Joran,
having me.
great to see you. We're just on with TigerBeetle, founder and CEO. You guys have an announcement this morning, partnership. So first of all, before we get into the partnership, Alex, congratulations on all the success you're having at Redpanda. You guys are moving the needle. I mean, since the last time we talked on theCUBE, so much now. You bought a company, winning customers, big customers, real transaction volume, real high availability, real business.
Yes, exactly.
TigerBeetle thundering away with high speed, high scale transactional databases. So I could kind of get the news. I didn't read the release, but I put the picture together. Explain the partnership between Redpanda and TigerBeetle.
So we have historically at Redpanda partnered with the Global Fortune 2000. That's kind of like where we deliver the most value. NYSE, for example, is one of our customers. So high scale, difficult to manage, lots of volumes, low latency, clearly, as you can see in the tickers behind us. And so when Joran was building this database specialized for transaction processing, they're like, the world needs something better. Our customers, frankly, chose it on their own. And so we power two of the top 5 banks in the US. Last time since we connected, we power all of the electric car companies in the US. And so in finance in specific, our users, I guess our tech probably cleared your paycheck this morning. That's how cool this is. And so what people have been struggling for a long time is like, what does the next generation transactional stream processing compute looks like, as you try to revamp old systems from batch into real time, as you're trying to update the new infrastructure. If you were to start from scratch, what would you do differently? Yeah. And so I think, to me, this is what this partnership is. It's like, this is the future. It's, systems that from a new angle that could do, 10x better everything that people were doing before.
So you're on great compliment from Alex saying that his customers, he's got great customers. I know them. You can't say their names, but I know what they do. They're pretty high end. They're choosing you on their own. He can't ignore you, but then he likes you because you got good solution. No, but this is a system. You mentioned systems. I love that word. Okay. You mentioned modern. And I love the term plumbing because it's so generic. People can relate to plumbing. The plumbing is being recasted. In a modern era. And we use the term modern legacy. It's kind of a joke on words, but it's like, okay, legacy is bad. Modern is good, but what's modern legacy? Good, bad together. Because just 5 years ago or 3 years ago, when your competitors who were leaders, who you're disrupting, they had state of the art, but you're actually modern.
Yes.
Okay, he's got a modern database that was built for OLTP, which kind of niche-y. In banks it's not, everyone knows what it is, but he's taking it into all environments at scale. The systems are being recasted.
Yes. And so what I think is there's this, there's a new demand on the volume of data that are being, and so there's this shift originally from batch to real time, and you and I have talked about, right? Like basically batch is a historical artifact of how we got here. It's not the future. And so most companies is no longer like a need. I think dynamic data is the data that matters. And so it's like, okay, that was where we played. But what we saw some of our customers struggle is that, okay, well, Redpanda helps you to put your data into like these lake houses. We could do your operational system super well, but there was still this bottleneck of like transaction processing. And so
40-year-old systems.
Exactly.
50-year-old transaction processing data.
All right, so explain this. So I'm a bank. I got Redpanda. You guys are state of the art. I got the high availability. I got all that streaming, oversimplifying it, but I love it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, now what is take me through the transaction plumbing flow chart. What happens with TigerBeetle and how does that relate to high quality environment, low latency, and high throughput?
Let's take a real production for one of the largest banks in the world right now. So the way this works is that you have Redpanda here managing the application layer, and Redpanda is giving the bank durability, high availability, all the safety, access controls, all that. And then the app will commit the transaction. It says like, hey, John's check, whatever, is now cleared on this particular bank account.
A system of record.
Exactly.
Piece of information, high quality, super important.
That can't go down. Yeah, and so we'll talk about like why there was such a good synergy from the engineer, because at the end of the day, engineers are like honey badgers, and honey badgers don't care. They're gonna put together the systems that make sense for them.
Yeah.
And so to take that system, then they'll commit the transaction to TigerBeetle. Then we'll consume the change data capture, and with the acquisition we made last year, as you referred earlier, then we'll push it into their analytics layer. And that's really an end-to-end application.
Yeah.
When you look at it, the bulk of it is really Redpanda, the connectors, and TigerBeetle. That's sort of like the inner core of that bank.
Yeah, and so when we cover the NVIDIAs of the world and these large-scale AI factories, the whole series just kicked off this week, they talk about interconnects. You're essentially creating an interconnect for a transactional layer for Redpanda.
Yeah.
That's
Panda's like the super node, the super hub. It's the hub that connects you anywhere.
Yeah.
And then
so get it from TigerBeetle or Redpanda, and you get it.
yeah. So you guys are interconnected. So you taking care of your business, the customer. You come in for the transaction speed.
Just so that transactions doesn't have to be a bottleneck, because Redpanda is so fast. The best streaming system in the world, fastest, safest. But you need to sort of get a heart that can pump those arteries.
It's like life. You don't want people to slow you down, but also you don't want them to speed you up either. So if you speed people up, you got to catch up. So no, you have to. It's being in sync.
Yeah.
So okay, you've got the interconnect. Now the data lake piece, that's huge because that's where the analytics happen, right?
Exactly.
So I'm a company. I'm like, okay, I got a whole team saying, what's the dashboards look like? How do I slice the data to do stuff and understand my business or run Gen AI or whatever they do?
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're got that covered. So app. You handle the app, goes to transaction, data lake gets filled.
Yeah, exactly. And so let's see like what's the value to the builder, right? Like why are we being selected for this mission critical systems? Because remember, like the tech, it was, even though we started philosophically from an engineering like bottoms up, like we want to build the best systems possible, people selected us for the most mission critical systems. Like that's the key.
And we sort of designed for it,
Yeah, totally. From like the ground up on the engineering principles on safety, we can't lose your data, and then we've like give all these guarantees. But what makes the clock tick? What closes the loop is at some point somebody's gonna look at a dashboard. You have to look at your bank. You log into your bank. You're like, how much money do I?
I got my paycheck. I don't see it in my statement.
And I pay my bills. And so the way that we partner is like, okay, well, let me consume the transactions in a change data capture form. And then we'll publish it to like 310 connectors. And that's the architecture.
Okay, I have to ask you guys, because I got two awesome experts here and it's succeeding with great momentum on all fronts. When you walk into a customer, now you got the partnership. And now, I know you have individual customers, now you got the partnership. So share your slice of life. When you walk into a customer, what are you looking at? I mean, what is the environment? What's their pain? How have they been grinding? Obviously, you guys are kind of an aspirin and a steroid and vitamins.
Yeah.
All of the checks there. So good benefit. I see that. What's it like? What are they living? Take me through the picture. What's their tech scene? Do they have tech debt? Are they struggling on speed? Are they losing money? Is it leaky pipes? I mean, what is the picture?
I think today CIOs are focused on two things. Either Gen AI, it's kind of like top of mind. And then on the infrastructure front, they really struggle from the CIO point of view, like cost is a big one. And so we just took a customer from like 500 nodes to 60 nodes, which caused like this whole competitive debacle where like our competitors like, we'll match the price, whatever it is, we'll give you 500 nodes for the cost of 60. And so, but really cost is a big one. People like want to do more with less.
So you're taking complexity out from a physical standpoint.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also like a systems complexity. We eliminate categories of complexity. I think.
Like what?
So let's see, we eliminate Zookeeper, we eliminate the coordination system, we eliminate the separate system for schema registry and HTTP proxy. And so as an engineer, it just feels like systems whack-a-mole. What broke at what time? And like, how do I go back and debug this thing?
It's one less thing to worry about.
Yes.
You take things out. Again, this is a systems design concept that the world's now coming to. The systems thinking is mainstream right now, which wasn't 5 years ago. Engineers, even coders.
Yeah,
they think
to think of the system as a whole,
Yes,
because TigerBeetle could be correct, but if your streaming's not correct, it's not correct.
Yeah.
So you need Redpanda, but you also need TigerBeetle, so the whole system is fast and safe by default.
And when we walk in, I think we should talk about like in finance in particular, because it's easy for the audience to relate. Like we can't lose your check. Okay, but that's kind of like why you like show up to work to some extent. Safety is such a critical component and such an important thing that people continue to struggle. So there's this bottleneck. I think you talked about it last night.
Amdahl's law, Relax,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like
That's what our customers see. So literally, I was with the CTO of one of the biggest banks in Africa. We're chatting face to face. The pager goes off. He shows me, SQL Server Rolocks in the red for 3 minutes. Nothing is moving for 3 minutes because of Rolocks. General purpose Rolocks just don't scale for transactions.
So I want to ask you about this operational, because the Gen AI hype is super high. Agents is beyond all recognition, but it's going to happen. No doubt in my mind. The evolution is going to meet up. Hype will kind of, values will all change. But that's like pie in the sky. So when I talk to end users, they're like, oh, I love Gen AI, I use it, but are you kidding me? I got to get my operation. I can't lose money. So there's still the front lines of business where the systems are changing too. That's where you're winning.
Exactly.
At the same time, I don't want to foreclose the future. So address that point. I get the operational success, but now I'm thinking, okay, where's the headroom
it's
for Gen AI?
I mean, let's talk about why people are struggling with AI, with Gen AI in particular. Data quality, it's a real big problem. Like, garbage in, garbage out. Like, we've been in systems for a long time. That's just been a saying for about the longest. And so you have to address the data quality up front. You have to have systems that give you completeness. And so alternative architectures, they drop data. And so like all of a sudden, they're like, how can you have confidence in the systems? And here's what's interesting. It's not enough that your applications are being code-generated. It's that the structure of those applications are fundamentally different today than they were when you and I were writing code.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like the architecture. And so you need it, like from Redpanda's point of view, this durable log where you're recording every single event. And it's not enough to record, the what, when, and what timestamp, but the entire transitive dependencies of all the data that's being acted. And so I think trust is a big one for CIOs to be able to push it to production, because you don't trust it. You're like, I don't know what this black box thing is doing.
Yeah.
And so I think those are some.
And you covered the state problem too.
Yes.
That's huge.
And I think also with autonomous agents, a lot of trust is also deciding what we're not going to trust. And so it's okay, we don't need to say we trust an autonomous agent 100%. We can say we trust it like 99.99%, but then give me an audit log, immutable history. And so it is going to make mistakes at some point, but we're going to have a history of that, and we can do correcting entries, going to give better quality primitives, debit, credit to do the transaction processing like Alex is for completeness.
What I like about what you guys are doing is you hit our leaders category, which is obvious, but you mentioned losing data and the systems lose data. The state of the art wasn't a bad thing. People would have to add Zookeeper, so there was a cobbling of stuff to solve the problem.
Yeah.
So okay, we're losing data. Okay, throw some stuff at it. So you have a sprawl.
Yeah.
So architecturally, you've kind of built up too much stuff. And why I bring this up, because one of the trends that we're covering here in theCUBE is that we're in a changeover, a transformation architecturally from a system standpoint. I mean, our AI Factory series talks about the data center as one computer.
Yeah.
That was not a concept 5 years ago. It was like a bunch of rack of servers. They talked to the other data center, rack and stack, switching, scale up, scale out. But you guys are saying, okay, the old way, how we got here doesn't matter. Yeah, you throw stuff at the problem, but now we have an opportunity to reset. That's what you guys are hitting, in my opinion. What's your reaction to that?
We had a great 30 years of legacy infrastructure, great 30 years. And now what does the next 30 years look like? Because we are at a transition point, scale is going through the roof.
You guys don't deny what I just said. Obviously, you guys are on that side of history. What's the customer reaction to that? Because now they kind of feel it and see it, but then they have the reaction of, they panic. I'm not saying they panic, that's my word, but like they freeze, or they go, what do we do? They have meetings, then, the policy, we can't take Zookeeper. Okay, the thing is perfectly set up. Well, for what? So there's probably
they don't say that, John. They're like, please, when can we take Zookeeper? It's going to help us hire. We'll be able to hire engineers if we take Zookeeper out.
First of all, the pages going off, that's another problem. They got pages. But what is the customer playbook now? Because that's the focus that we see. How do I get the AI factories up? How do I get my architecture set up? How do I not lose business for 3 minutes or 3 hours or 3 days? How do I have non-disruptive operations and to bring in the new fresh?
Well, and there's one more dimension, which is data privacy and data sovereignty, right? And so like what you got with this foundation model is they've already consumed all of the publicly available data. But the next frontier is private data, right? And like in order for agents to be useful, they have to, in like infrastructure, we call them connectors. In AI, we call them contexts because we have to give everything a cool new name.
MCP, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that good either, right? But that's okay. It's getting better. I love MCP.
Totally. And so, so now you have to give it access to like all of these internal systems. So like that's a real bottleneck. How do you give access to internal systems in a way that's safe, in a way that's controlled? And that really is where a bunch of the CIOs...
Talk about safety, because this is a nuanced point. We'll get to the cars in a second. When we talk about IT, most of these systems, internal systems, are brittle.
Yeah.
And they work. So sometimes introducing new things...
Well, people think they work, until the data center loses power and you realize, your old streaming system wasn't ever writing to disk. It was replicating across machines in the same data center, but they weren't. So I always encourage engineers, go home, check, is your old streaming system actually F-syncing? Because by default, it probably isn't. Redpanda does by default, same as TigerBeetle. But
And by the way, that's a real call we got for a production outage. I got the call from a CIO of a bank, and they say we're getting fined. Basically, I think it's $100,000 an hour by a government, because I don't want to kind of narrow it too much for the audience. And that's how we got in. They're just I want a system that's safe, that can keep my data. So safety in this regard, it's just not losing data, which sounds like
safe data.
Obvious. Yeah, exactly. It's you're well, what the hell is the point of a database if it's not to keep my data? The point is, when I send you data, I want to get it back. Kind of why we invented this system,
You actually get, vendors that say, well, we think durability and ACID, ACID, the guarantees of data, durability should be a spectrum. Let's make it a spectrum. And we're no, it's absolute.
It's called excuse. Yeah. It's not a spectrum. It's a whole other word.
No, it's the very foundation of ACID. You pull out D and you lose A, C, and I.
So on safety, the reason why I brought up safety is because the first thing that popped in my head was cars. You mentioned you're powering a lot of the autonomous vehicles.
All of the autonomous vehicles in the U.S.
All of them.
Yes.
That's a bold statement. Okay, so safety for them is not killing people.
Yeah.
So there's a little AI safety thing there. How do you guys handle the autonomous vehicle piece? Because, again, that's a huge critical infrastructure piece. And autonomous L4 is coming.
Yeah.
L2 with retrofits out there now. What's the...
It's I think, just to give a scale, it's in the quadrillions of rows per day. So it is an app. It's a scale that is staggering even to the people that we're help. And we're help with a small part. Obviously the engineers at these companies did all of the work. But what we do is we make that delivery of messaging guaranteed, safe, just worry free. But then you can build principled systems on top of it, because you can start to trust the underlying infrastructure. The only way to do this is honestly with custom tweaking all the way down to the underlying hardware, because the
defaults are wrong. They're not set.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't trust them. Yeah.
Totally. It's just all the way down. You really have to rethink. I have a saying, which is sometimes you get to reinvent the wheel when the world changes, when the road changes. And so we're just trying to reinvent this.
We were
together.
So lucky with timing, because Redpanda launched 2020. I was watching that launch. I was convinced this is the future of streaming, for durable streaming. TigerBeetle, I was designing TigerBeetle July 2020. We had all the same, ideas, so similar, C-Star framework, but we had Tiger style static allocation. Just the same.
Your computer science alignment and culture fit.
Yes.
Was there.
And a rare standard. You don't find this standard of engineering at the hyperscalers. They don't do this. The build quality, as far as I know, I get engineers from Google writing to me saying, I wish we did static allocation. But nobody does it. But this is very
Why
much
don't they
embedded.
do it? What's the reason?
I think we just come from this hardcore embedded engineering world. That's how we think of real time. We think of real time. This is the way you do these systems.
There's also a large engineering tax here that people pay, and so I don't want to basically put it under the rug and it's this is a panacea, because there's cost, the cost. But here's the thing with complexity: you can't eliminate complexity. You can only shift it around. and either you punt it over onto the users or the system experts onboards the complexity. And so I think
we do, yeah.
Exactly. The
You
philosophy.
take that burden.
Yeah.
We say, total cost of ownership across the relationship with our users. It's not our total cost of ownership. It's the best software is more than a program, I like to say. Best software is more than a program. It's a relationship between the users and the makers based on trust. And so we take total cost of ownership for the whole world. The world doesn't need us to write slower, buggier software. It wants less blue screens of death. Yeah. And so we take that cost on,
Exactly.
and then the world rewards
It's very
that.
refreshing. It's actually fun. I have to ask, what's been the reaction from the competition? I've seen your LinkedIn post. I know what they're doing. What's the reaction? Because obviously, you're not going to be popular for the old guard. Okay, so, FUD comes out. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That comes out. Oh no, Spectrum. It's a Spectrum.
We deploy these anti-FUD devices, John. Like we are seeing more FUD coming.
What are some of the reactions? What are they saying?
We don't think about it too much. We think there are going to be competitors. It's like technology moves in waves. What you really want to do is be getting out there surfing the swell. And if other people are good and spotting that swell, surfing it with
it's noise. It's a signal noise ratio.
Your frenemies.
But you walk into a customer. I know you have customers coming to you.
Yeah.
They say, hey, we have a problem, and it's their problem. The other vendors, you solve that. What's next with the partnership? What are you guys going to do next? Obviously, it's out there.
Power of the world.
Joint engineering, connectors. What's next?
Trying to own the transaction process in a space for the next decade. I mean, I think the call out is if, first of all, we feel authentic in the way that we can show up to the world's most demanding workloads and like, honestly, just like, let's go. Put us to the test.
Yeah.
We could do this. We're now ready.
And it is, it's just our job. It is our job to do that. It happens to be that is our workload, and that's what we do. And
Exactly.
Guys, thanks for Alex, Joran. Thanks for coming on. Again, two great CUBE alumni, and thanks for being part of the community. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right. I'm Jeff Furrier. We're here at theCUBE, the Mixture of Experts series. Two experts here sharing their data with you in real time. We're streaming on theCUBE, doing our part. Thanks for watching.